Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Translation once again. One who desires domination over a kingdom or an empire should worship the Manus. One who desires victory over an enemy should worship the demons. And one who desires sense gratification should worship the moon. But one who desires nothing of material enjoyment should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Very powerful verse, like all verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. And also more powerful is the purport of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So this verse is talking about mainly the pure devotional service. Who should worship Supreme Personality of Godhead? Very clear, very precise. Anyone who desires nothing for material enjoyment should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We have learned about the benefits attained by worshipping different demigods. You see, who should you worship? The demons or the moon or the demigods? Who should you worship for particular desire that one may have? So we can see that this particular verse that we recited is giving us, you can say, secret to success in spiritual life. And success means to attain pure love for Krishna. And until and unless we love Krishna in a pure way, we will not be able to go back to Godhead. And the reason for this purity is so that all material desires are removed from our heart, our mind, our senses. There should be no material sense enjoyment desire at all. Because in the spiritual world, such a person cannot enter. Prabhupada says, even if there is a tinge of material desire, we immediately become disqualified to go back to Godhead in that state. But once one becomes pure, achieves pure love for Krishna, performs pure devotional service, there is a change in the heart of such a devotee. That devotee becomes qualified to go back to Godhead, becomes qualified to even worship the Supreme Lord. So you see, there are requirements. One has to qualify, just like if I want to practice as a medical doctor, I need to qualify. I need to have that knowledge. I need to have that training and that experience. I have to have the certification that, yes, I am a medical practitioner. Similarly, we also need to qualify. And here, this verse is giving us an indication that to become purified, we need to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And to be able to worship in pure state, there should be no material desires at all. There should be no more desire to enjoy this material world. That is a liberated stage, which is called the Brahmabhuta stage. That is what it is. But right now, Prabhupada says we are in the conditioned state, which is absolutely useless. He calls it absolutely useless. Anything that we see in this material world which is useless, we are not interested. We don't even really appreciate when we get useless gifts on our birthdays, right? It's like, oh, this is useless. This is something I cannot even use. So Prabhupada is stressing on this point that conditioned stage is absolutely useless. So those who are interested in enjoying their senses and engage in sense gratification, they are doing so because they are captivated by material modes, goodness, passion, or ignorance. They are under the influence of those modes. And most of them are in the mode of passion or ignorance. Very few we will find who operate on the mode of goodness. But a devotee tries to go above these modes. Sagunan samitetyatan brahma bhuvaya kalpate. They try to transcend the three modes of material nature and come to the mode of pure goodness. And that is a stage where there will be no more material desires. The only desire will be, how can I serve the Supreme Lord? How can I worship Him? How can I improve my spiritual life? How can I come to that stage of bhava and then prema, love for Krishna? How can I do that? This is what is required. It's actually the requirement to go back to Godhead. So this verse is teaching us how to perform pure devotional service. Who can worship the Supreme Lord? You see, there's a requirement. And Krishna is saying that those who want to seek favors from the demigods, they are the ones whose senses are uncontrolled. They don't have any control over their senses. And so they worship the demigods because they want quick results. They're actually doing a business deal with the demigods. I do this, and this is what you give me in return. But the devotees, they are very sensible. They know that the worship should only be for Krishna. Vyavasatmika buddhi eke kuru nandana has to be focused. Krishna is demanding that you worship only me. Ekam, only me. Why? Because he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the devotees, they are very sensible because they have knowledge. They have understood who is God. They have understood that Krishna is the Supreme Lord and one should worship only the Supreme Lord. Once Prabhupada gave this example that when a lady has just got married, she's come and then she tells her husband, I love you, but I love this neighbor also, and I love that neighbor also, and I love that neighbor. That's not going to work. So we cannot say, I'm going to worship Krishna, then I'll worship the demigods, I'll worship moon god and the sun god and Indra. No, has to be completely focused. One-pointed devotion. So devotees are very sensible. They have the knowledge, and that is why they worship only Krishna. And Prabhupada, in the purport of today's verse, says that preaching about demigod worship is foolish because the scriptures clearly indicate who should we worship. They indicate that all roads do not lead to the same destination. He gives a nice example in the purport that if we, want to go from Bombay to Delhi, but if we bought a ticket from Bombay to Baroda, it's not going to work. It's not that the flight ticket that we have Bombay to Delhi is going to go to Baroda also. No, it's not. So all roads do not lead to the same destination. So we cannot think demigod worship and Krishna worship is the same. It's going to give us the same result. No, it's not going to do that. I want to go to New York, but I've bought a ticket to LA. How can I reach New York? I'll definitely be on a flight only to LA, not to New York. So first of all, we need to understand, what is my destination? Where do I want to go? Do I want to come back into this material world, which looks like a clubhouse to me? Then Krishna will say, Tathastu, come back here. We don't need to do anything. We'll come back automatically. But if our destination is Goloka Vrindavan, we want to go to the spiritual world, the highest spiritual world, then we need to practice devotional service towards Krishna. That is what the scriptures say. And the reason people want to worship the demigods is because they have unlimited material desires. And they have learned the art of also doing business with them. You want a good husband, worship this. You want a good wife, worship this one. You want money, worship this one. They know their desires. They are so you can say so fixed up in their desires that they know where to go to get them. And Prabhupada says, Krishna is so kind. He says, okay, if you want something, come to me. Chaturvidha bhajante mam. Jana sukritino Arjuna. He says, you want money, you want, you are in distress, you want knowledge, you are inquisitive about me, anything, come to me. But it is only these pious, sukritino, these pious people who approach Krishna, even though they may have a desire to get some money, or they are inquisitive, whatever, or they are in distress. Krishna says, no problem, come to me. So these pious people, what is their what is going to happen for them? Krishna is gradually going to cleanse them of all their material desires. How? Because they will be engaged in devotional service towards him. And gradually they will reach that pure stage of devotional service where there will be no tinge of any material desire. Anyabhilashita, shunyam. There will be no desire for jnana, for karma, or for anything. Nothing at all. It'll just be pure devotional service. And Srila Prabhupada has given us the process, simple process. How we can, by following this process, we can come to that Brahmabhuta stage. Brahmabhuta prasanna atma. Na shochati na kankshati. Come to that liberated stage of life where there is only pure devotional service. And for what? To please Krishna. Then there is no room for desires to fulfill, fulfill the desires to enjoy the senses. No. He will award benedictions, but gradually he will make it such that we are so cleansed of all material desires that we don't want anything material anymore. That is purification. You see? So in the beginning stages, what one can do is when one starts performing devotional service and one is filled up with all these material desires, then one can try to minimize them. Try to contemplate on those desires. What is it that I'm desiring? Is it something that is, a necessity? Or is it a luxury? What is it? Is it something I can do without? Then just take it out. Remove that desire from the mind. And instead, focus on worshiping Krishna. Because Krishna is beyond material. He is transcendental. Satchitananda Vigraha. His transcendental form, he's beyond material. And in the Bhagavad Gita, we've learned worshipping the demigods is the wrong way. People think I can go to Krishna through the demigods. But Krishna says that's a very wrong way to worship me. That's not intelligence at all. And he also tells us in the Bhagavad Gita, worship of demigods is temporary. And it's not meaningful at all. So this verse is talking about dominion, over kingdom, empire, etc., etc. And in this material world, we all want to be kings and queens. We want to be the controllers. Even becoming a king or queen is nothing. Having opulence greater than the king and the queen. That is what most people are desiring. But Prabhupada says all that is meaningless. Yes, it is tempting for the mind. What if I can get a kingdom or an empire? I become a king or a queen. And then there'll be so many opulences. What if I can become rich like Bill Gates? I don't know if he's still there because I don't watch TV or read news. So I don't know. Prabhu, maybe you can tell me, is Bill Gates still there? Is he still there?
Yeah, but he's in.
Okay, he's there.
I don't want to talk about him. So
But I guess he's not the richest man, right? He's not the richest man.
Yeah,
Someone
Elon
else has
Musk is now
overtaken.
this. Mhm.
Yes. You see?
Anyway,
Yeah, so one may think I want to be rich like so and so, or I want, this attractive person. This all may be an attraction, but it's so insignificant. It's not even worth pursuing. It is better that we become fully Krishna conscious, become pure devotees of the Lord. You see? Talking about rich man, I was listening to a lecture. So there was a rich man in Japan, and he invited Srila Prabhupada and one another Swami from another Sampradaya or somewhere. And so Srila Prabhupada, when he came, he spoke. And that Swami spoke for maybe 10 minutes. But what he spoke is something that was not acceptable to Srila Prabhupada. So he immediately said, Sankirtan, Kirtan. So he asked everyone to start chanting, doing Kirtan, because he wanted that other Swami to start speaking. Because, see, even though Srila Prabhupada was taken to that rich man in Japan, because that rich man was ready to give a house, donate a house where a temple could be built. But Srila Prabhupada did not care about that. He did not care about the opulence. For him, it was more important that Krishna not being blasphemed. He did not want to allow blasphemy of Krishna. And so he stopped that Swami from speaking by just starting his devotees, disciples to start doing kirtan. That is called bold preaching, and not give in. Oh, this rich man is going to give us a house and we'll build a nice temple and then we can preach. No. If we see blasphemy of Krishna, if we see blasphemy of Guru, if we see blasphemy of devotees, we should not give in. You have to be very, very careful, because even those who take part in blasphemy, or those who just stand and hear and watch, they also are offending the devotees and the Lord. So Srila Prabhupada, being the pure devotee, he did not care about that house in Japan. He made so many houses all over the world, right? How many temples do we have now? I've heard more than 800. He opened so many temples. He opened 108 temples while he was present. You see? So preaching is what we can learn from Srila Prabhupada, how we need to give this knowledge to others. In the verse, it is mentioned victory of enemies. And Prahlad Maharaj is described. This is animalistic type of consciousness. Yudhishthira Maharaj, he was a Jatashatru. He had no enemies. And Duryodhan was acting so inimical towards him. But Yudhishthira Maharaj, he had no enemies. He was a well-wisher of all. It didn't matter what their status was. He was ready to be kind to anyone and everyone. Even after the Mahabharat war was finished, over, he took very good care of Dhritarashtra, because Dhritarashtra's children were all dead. All his 100 sons were dead. There was no one to take care of him. Now, Yudhishthira Maharaj, if he considered Duryodhana to be an enemy, he would have said, why should I take care of his father? No. That's the qualification of a pure devotee, also has no enemies. And so he took very good care of Dhritarashtra. He did not think, oh, it was Dhritarashtra who was the cause of Mahabharat war, where millions of soldiers had died. No. Dhritarashtra had the authority to stop the war, but he did not. Why? Because he was overcome with greed. He was overcome with attachment to his eldest son Duryodhana. But Yudhishthira Maharaj was not in a mood of pointing finger at Dhritarashtra. No. He appreciated Dhritarashtra. He took care Why? Because Dhritarashtra, when the five brothers Pandavas were little, Dhritarashtra took care of them when they were little. Why? Because their father Pandu had died at a very early age. So Yudhishthira Maharaj, being a pure devotee of the Lord, felt highly indebted to Dhritarashtra. So when Dhritarashtra left for the forest, to take Vanaprastha, because he got the knowledge from his brother Vidura, Yudhishthira Maharaj was overwhelmed. He was depressed. Where is my uncle Dhritarashtra? And one should not mistake this as attachment. No, it was affection, family affection. He was soft-hearted. That's one of the qualities of a pure devotee. Does not see anyone as an enemy. So Prahlad Maharaj is saying that if one is, thinking of victory over enemies, that is an animalistic consciousness. That's like cats and dogs. And if demigods, demigod worship, as it is mentioned in the purport also by Srila Prabhupada, if demigod worship was sanctioned, we would have seen it in the scriptures. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna very clearly says that less intelligent people worship the demigods. Yes, if one worships demigods properly, they do get the results. You see, why do they want that result? Because they don't want to come out of their comfort zone. They don't want to alter their lives. They don't want to perform any sacrifices. They don't want to perform any austerities. They don't want to follow any rules and regulations. But it's very easy to please the demigods. They easily give benedictions. But guess what? There are 33 million demigods. And there are many maruts who are assisting the demigods. So if we worship only one demigod, then we are offending all the other demigods and maruts. And it's impractical to worship millions of demigods. That is why Krishna says, just focus your worship on me. And when one worships Krishna, the Supreme Lord, all the demigods are automatically satisfied. We don't need to worship them separately. No. Yes, worship of Supreme Lord is difficult because it requires to follow certain rules and regulations. You need to chant every day, do deity worship, you need to accept a spiritual master, follow the rules, eat only Krishna Prasad, everything. Every aspect of our life needs to be changed. What we eat, what we read, who we associate with, But most people don't like to follow the rules. For them, they want to do whatever they want to do. I remember many, many years ago when I used to have a class in India, in Mumbai. There was this lady who would come to the class, and she was from California, and she was visiting Mumbai. And so she would come, she came, I think, for 2 months or so. And then she went back to California. And then after many years, I met her again when I was visiting Mumbai. And I met her in the Juhu temple. And I was so happy to see her. I asked her, are you chanting? She said, yes, I'm still chanting. And she said, guess what? I have also accepted a spiritual master. And I was very happy for her. I said, oh, very nice. Who is your spiritual master? And she gave a name of some Babaji in Vrindavan. I said, oh, very nice. So what are the instructions from your spiritual master? And she said, well, he said, do whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want to do. Just think of the Lord. And I knew that she was a smoker before. She used to smoke. So I asked her, oh, so you must have stopped smoking. He said, no, my guru said you can continue. That's not a guru. A bona fide spiritual master will make sure that the disciple is following the four regulative principles. And intoxication is a complete no-no. So the intelligent people, they have a foresight. They don't get caught in, material desires or enjoying the senses. They don't get caught up by Maya. They don't get influenced by Maya, by illusion. You see? They know how to stay away from Maya. They don't get attached to Maya. Because if one gets attached to Maya, then it'll be very difficult to disentangle. And attachment to Maya means detachment to Krishna. This is how it works. There's a nice example. If we keep a jar, which has a very small mouth, and there is a banana inside, and a monkey comes there and puts the hand inside to take that banana. So when you hold the banana, then what happens? Then your fingers are spread out. Then it's very hard to remove the hand from the jar. But the monkey doesn't want to uh, wants that banana too. Excuse me, does not want to let go of the banana. Wants the banana and wants to come out too to eat the banana. That is what happens when we get attached to Maya. Then it becomes very difficult to get detached, because we don't want to get let go of Maya also at the same time. So worshipping Krishna and worshipping Maya doesn't happen at the same time. So the devotees, they are very vigilant. They don't get tempted by whatever Maya has to offer. They don't run after material benefits, even it may be a big one, because it's waste of time and energy. So worshipping demigods actually strengthens one's selfishness, because it's a fruitive activity. That mentality is that, oh, I'm doing this and this is the fruit I'm going to get in return. That mentality actually gradually leads one to becoming envious of the Lord. You see, we have many desires, thousands of desires coming up in our minds every day. There's no need to fulfill them. And they will keep increasing. But if we start focusing on those material desires, then we will become more and more conditioned. Why waste human form of life? Excuse me. Use the intelligence. Get more knowledge. Understand that if we get entangled in Maya, there are going to be consequences. Start constructing our spiritual lives. Process is given to us by Srila Prabhupada. Do favorable activities, all that is favorable to devotional service. Avoid unfavorable. This is how we will strengthen our spiritual lives, you see? And be focused. Everything is for the pleasure of Krishna. In other words, become very serious in Krishna consciousness. I was hearing this lecture where Prabhu was mentioning that Satsvarup Maharaj was asked to choose. You want Swamiji or you want parents? Choose between the two. You want Srila Prabhupada or you want parents? If you choose Swamiji, don't come back. That is what the parents told him. And he did not go back. He stayed with Swamiji. He stayed with Srila Prabhupada. What a sacrifice. Imagine if we are given that choice, parents or the Supreme Lord, parents or the spiritual master. Unfortunately, people are afraid of even small sacrifices. Where's the question of big sacrifice of choosing Krishna and putting our faith in Krishna? See, Krishna will take care of us. He says, Masuchaha. He says, my devotees never perish. Name bhaktya pranashyati. My devotees never perish. He's giving us a guarantee. See, today is such an auspicious day. Balaram Jayanti, appearance of Lord Balaram. It gives us an opportunity to worship Lord Balaram, who is the original spiritual master, Adi Guru. There's a very nice verse in 10th Canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 2, verse 13, where it says, Garbha Sankarshanatam Vai Prahu Sankarshanam Bhuvi Rameti Loka Ramanad Balabhadram Balochrayat. Translation: the son of Rohini will also be celebrated as Sankarshana because of him being sent from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini, that attraction. He will be called Rama because of his ability to please all the inhabitants of Gokul. And he will be known as Balabhadra because of his extensive physical strength. That is Lord Balaram. He's non-different from Krishna, the same. He's the first expansion of Krishna. You see? And he has all the 6 opulences like Krishna in full, and the 64 transcendental qualities. And he manifests himself in 5 rasas just to serve Krishna. That is Lord Balaram. So today is a great opportunity for us to meditate on Lord Balaram, meditate on what gift can we give him on his appearance day. Will it be attentive chanting, more reading, more preaching, more seva, whatever it may be? He is the Adi Guru who is ready to remove the anarthas from our heart with his plow. He's ready to scrape them out from our hearts. Lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, illusion, everything. He is ready to remove all the anarthas, provided we focus on worshipping him. And his worship is non-different from worshipping Krishna. So I'm going to end here. I'll read the translation once again. One who desires domination over a kingdom or an empire should worship the Manus. One who desires victory over an enemy should worship the demons. And one who desires sense gratification should worship the moon. But one who desires nothing material enjoyment should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I'm going to end here. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.